What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to have a look at, well, what's going on with OP-03 Pillars of Strength. And I need to give you my usual warning, and that is, stop buying singles for OP-03. Because we've done this before, ladies and gentlemen. We've done this before. We did it for OP-02. We saw what happened for OP-02, and I'm already seeing the same things happening again over in OP-03. Like right now, Charlotte Pudding is apparently, according to TCG Player, a $200 card. The latest sale was $200. The market price is $200. People are listing it for $200. It's apparently a $200 card. That's what I'm hearing, ladies and gentlemen. I am hearing that this Charlotte Pudding is a $200 card. And look, let's be clear, right? I don't know what the price of these are going to end up as. I'm not clairvoyant. I can't see the future. I can't actually sit here and tell you whether this is going to be a $200 card or not. And nobody can. Nobody can actually tell you with 100% certainty what the price of this Charlotte Pudding is going to be unless they've come from the future, in which case I hope they've got some more important information than the price of a random card from OP-03. What we can do, however, is go and look at other cards. Like, for instance, Nami. Now, Nami is, as it stands at the moment, a $200 card. This is a Nami from OP-01. Now, if we look at the most recent sales, there are two for $200 and one actually for $160, a little bit of a bargain. And you got the graph on the screen there as well, and what we can see is that it started off as about a $200 card, jumped up to a $250 card on the release of the set, and then it's gone back down, and it's flicked up and down, but it's held steady for a while now at about $200-ish. It's a $200 card. Here's the thing, though. Nami is, in terms of One Piece TCG characters, hyper popular. Way more than Charlotte Pudding. And look, I've not gotten to the whole Big Mum arc in the manga. I don't really know exactly what's going on here. But I do know that Charlotte Pudding is not as popular as Nami. I know that Nami is maybe the most popular One Piece character. Everybody loves Nami. And of course, this Nami card is really, really good. Like, very, very good. Because it's got that skill whereby when you play it, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find a Straw Hat crew other than Nami, add it to your hand, place a roster at the bottom of your deck in any order. It sees a huge amount of play. Now, to be fair, Charlotte Pudding does actually have, like, the same skill, but for Big Mum Pirates, or Sanji. So, fine. But Nami's seen a huge amount of play here, and Charlotte Pudding, it's a good card, but I don't expect it to be the same as Nami. But let's say it is, alright? Let's say that Charlotte Pudding ends up the same as Nami. Let's say that happens. It's going to end up as a $200 card. So, like, the worst case scenario is that this actually ends up being as popular a card as Nami, and I'm on record now as saying I very much doubt that's going to be the case. But the worst case scenario, price-wise, if you're trying to buy it, is that it ends up being as expensive as Nami. That's the worst case scenario. So why would you pay Nami prices now? Like, if the worst case scenario is that this ends up being as expensive as Nami, why would you pay Nami prices before the set's even out? Because the set isn't out yet. We are in that period at the moment where pre-releases have happened. But the set is not out. So you can go and enter your pre-release now, get your Vivi, try and get your winner's Vivi, get yourself your pre-release pack with the stamped cards and all of that. And you can actually buy a box at pre-releases, but you can buy a box, one box, at pre-releases if you go to a store that's got pre-releases and they've got enough stock. The set's not really out. This is the worst possible time to buy singles of OP-03. Because there are just enough cards out there to build the hype. Everybody wants to get in on it. But there aren't enough cards out there to give a big enough supply to bring the prices down. So you've got the hype and the fear of missing out. combined with the lack of stock because we've just had pre-releases. And, you know, Charlotte Pudding, for me, is the classic example of this set. The worst case scenario is it ends up as expensive as Nami, and I really don't think that's going to happen. But it's already as expensive as Nami. Why would you pay Nami prices before it's even out? Now, personally, I wouldn't, ladies and gentlemen, but that's just me. But how about some leaders? Let's have a look at some alternate art leaders. Right now, over on TCG Player, the two big leaders are Charlotte Katakuri and Ace. Okay, and Nami, but Nami's in a different category, so we'll look at Nami in a minute. But in terms of, like, the leaders that might be playable, these two. And Nami actually has seen a bit of play and success. But again, Nami's in her own category. We'll look at that in a minute. And what we've got here is Charlotte Katakuri for about 180 and Ace for about 160. And these prices come from the fact that these are leaders that have proven to be pretty good over in Japan, and therefore people think they're going to be good over here, which incidentally, very fair assumption to make, and so the price of them skyrocket up. How can I prove that's massively, massively overpriced? Edward Newgate. Edward Newgate is the best leader we've had so far. It is a leader that has seen the most play and the most success. Edward Newgate is the best leader we've had. And at times, like on the release of the set, for instance, it's been up above $200, but right now it's a $115 card. And the last three sales on TCG Player are $115, $115, and $117. Edward Newgate, the alternate art leader, is a $115 card. It is the best leader. It has been seeing a redonkulous amount of play, and it's been seeing a redonkulous amount of success all through OP-02, all through OP-03, and yes, into OP-04 over in Japan. So my point here is that we know this is good. We know it is going to remain good moving forward, and it's a $115 card. So why would leaders that have just come out, that are going to be good, but not Edward Newgate good, neither of the... Although Katakuri, to be fair, is the best yellow deck around. But it's still not Edward Newgate good. Why would we pay more for these leaders than for the leader which was best in OP-02, best in OP-03, and very strongly argued best in OP-04? No leader should be more expensive, with one exception. No leader should be more expensive than Edward Newgate right now, and yet people are paying more for these two leaders than they are paying for Edward Newgate, and frankly, ladies and gentlemen, that's quite silly. Now, the Nami problem. Because I did say that Nami was in a category all of her own. And that's true, incidentally. Because what we've got with Nami that we don't have in other leaders is it's Nami. And I've already explained to you how the character of Nami, the alternate art, is redonkulously expensive, largely because it's Nami. So for that reason, the leader, you're going to pay a premium for the alternate art Nami leader. That is just a thing. You are going to have to pay a bit of a premium. Sorry about that. Feel free to be upset, but that's just the way it is. Now, right now, it's a $190 card, and I know the graph seems to be showing a really big fall. It's not. It's dropped from $190 to $186. It's dropped by $4. The last three solds are like $190, $190, $180. And I do expect this to come down, let's be clear. I am already, we've already seen it drop $10 right here. It's going to keep falling. It's not going to be a $180 card. But Nami is an outlier. Because we've not yet seen a leader like this where it is kind of playable. It's my favourite leader from OP-03. It's the one where you try and deck yourself out to win. But it's Nami. And we've not seen this level of this from other leaders. We've just not seen it. However, I do think it's fair to say that when we look at leaders and we try and look at all of the ones from the first two sets so far, the most expensive is Roanoa Zoro. That's the number one. $220 as it stands at the moment. It's gone down significantly. It's gone up again. One thing that, although it did kind of shoot up quite a lot at the start, but it's now sitting at about 220. It has been as low as, 200, and the other dip was 210, but it's creeping up again. The thing is, Zoro, along with Newgate, is the other big leader. And Zoro is one of the really core crew of, the Straw Hat Pirates, the main ones. And we all know Romance Dawn has been, tell it as it is, it's been a little bit awkward in terms of stock. It has not been kept in stock as well as OP-02 has, and OP-03 looks like it's going to be. So for that reason, you need to be, and I know I'm giving you a few exceptions here, but you need to bear this in mind. The Nami alternate art is a Nami card, so it's going to be higher. Romance Dawn generally sees cards being a bit higher, and it's no coincidence that Nami and Roanoa Zoro are both much more expensive than equivalent cards in other sets, given that they're both from Romance Dawn. But if we look at Paramount War, there is nothing along these lines in terms of characters, or indeed in terms of leaders, because stock for Paramount War has been an awful lot easier. It's been an easier set to try and get hold of. The most expensive character in Paramount War is the alternate art Edward Newgate, which has seen a redonkulous amount of play. It's like a $65 card. No, less than that, actually. The market price is currently $55, but the last solds are all around $65, so take it as $55 to $65, something in that range. My point is, that's the most expensive character from OP-02. So why? Why are we going to be paying over the odds? You'll notice that the Edward Newgate character here, since it came out, there's been a big drop in price. You'll notice that the Edward Newgate leader, since it came out, there's been a big drop in price. And we can play this game with any card from OP-02. They've all seen big drops in price. Smoker, since I've been reading the manga, Smoker, love Smoker. Smoker's awesome. Oh, look what happened to the Smoker leader. People were paying $190 for the Smoker leader on release. It's now a $75 card. Oh, look, leader, massively expensive on release. See where we're going with this, ladies and gentlemen? Remember the other two leaders I showed you a minute ago? These leaders are always overhyped on release. And I could spend the next hour playing this game with you, showing you these cards and explaining to you why they're massively too expensive. It's not really the point. And even ones that go up. The Nami has crept up to a $45 card again from a low of $25. But on release, people were paying $160 for Nami. This is the alternate art Nami from OP-02. For what it's worth, I did pull this Nami. I'm delighted. If I'm ever going to sell it, I'm waiting. This one is going to keep going up. But it shouldn't have been bought when it was initially released, because it was way too expensive. And I've given you example after example after example. I'm going to stop giving you examples now because I think I've made my point. Even where these cards end up getting very expensive, there's always a drop you should know this is going to happen. Because essentially what happens is the set comes out, there's a huge amount of extra stock, and the prices start crashing. Over time, they might start going back up again as people stop buying the set, as the cards being sold are a little bit more scarce, as people decide these cards are more worth having. But a few weeks after the set releases, when there's been enough time for the stock to really hit the streets, that's when you should be buying singles of OP-03. And look, I'm not your dad, unless you're Daisy, Ruben, or Archie, in which case the fact that you're watching this is weird. If you want to buy them early, buy them early. You're going to be overpaying, but if you want to buy it early, buy it early. It's completely up to you. But we are going to see dramatic price drops in basically all of these cards. If you've got singles to sell, now is a great time to sell them. But don't buy them now, ladies and gentlemen. I've shown you. Romance Dawn is a little bit weird. The really popular cards from Romance Dawn, I'm talking Nami and Zoro, yeah, they've howled a little bit better than some others. But even them, we know that the shortage or relative shortage of Romance Dawn has had something to do with that. And also, there was no pre-release for Romance Dawn. And a lot of the reasoning I'm going through here is the fact that we've got that period where pre-release has happened, some stock is out there, but the full set hasn't dropped, so we haven't seen the real drop in price. That is going to happen. it's going to happen. And when I made this video for OP-02, I had a bunch of people telling me I'm wrong, I'm stupid, look at Romance Dawn, it's not going to happen. Well, I showed you that the two biggest cards in that set are the two Edward Newgate cards, and I've shown you what happened to them, and oh look, it totally happened. Who could possibly have predicted it? In a video, which they published. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about all of this. I want to know which singles you picked up from OP-03. I want to know which singles you want to pick up from OP-03. I want to know anything you want to tell me, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.